Hey, what is going on, everybody? How are you all doing today? I hope you all are having a wonderful and fantastic day today, and if not, hopefully you all will have a better tomorrow. So today, I wanted to have a discussion on whether or not the Grimm succeeded at being threatening in Volume 6. This is one thing that's been a little bit of a problem for a while before Volume 6 had happened, of whether the Grimm had felt like they were threatening or not. So I do want to have a discussion here talking about whether they actually succeeded or if they failed. But first, before that, I know some of you have been wondering for months now, and even right now you all are probably still wondering, what about the Discord that I was making? Well, I have been busy, so there have been times where I haven't been able to make the Discord, and I tried to yesterday and I was too busy for that. So, here's what's going to happen. The Discord, it is going to be made, either it is going to be made on Friday or it will be sometime after Saturday. So, either by Saturday or by next Tuesday, the Discord will be up. So, don't you worry, I am working on that. I will have enough time over the weekend at some point to be able to work on making the Discord for everyone. So I do apologize in advance that this has taken so long. I do get busy. So I hope you all understand, and I want to thank you all for your patience on waiting for me to make the Discord. So I wanted to just keep you all updated on that situation, so it'll be up soon. Thank you for your patience, and in the meantime, sit back, relax. I hope you all enjoy, and let's go ahead and get started. So, one big thing about the Grimm is that some fans had really felt that the Grimm had not felt threatening for some time. And this is one thing that has stood out to me as well, because it felt like for a while the Grimm really haven't felt threatening. And Volume 6 was the volume that Miles and Carrie had stated that they were going to try to work on making the Grimm feel more threatening. Now, in the past, there have been times to where the Grimm have actually felt like they were genuinely threatening. And for those times, that's good. I mean, it's good to see that they had felt like they were threatening at some time, but there are also times where the Grimm just were there and it didn't really feel like they were that threatening at all. I mean, yes, we did get some knowledge on them, like Volume 2, for example, with the Goliath, but there have been other instances to where it just feels like the Grimm had just been shut out and that they just weren't even relevant to the plot at all, as if they were non-existent. And if you look at the Grimm, for example, in Volume 4, like the Geist Grimm, the Geist, yeah, the concept, the idea seemed pretty good, but realistically, it didn't really feel that scary. It just felt like it was an action sequence to try to get everybody invested into Volume 4, and yeah, we know how that animation was in Volume 4. It wasn't at the best. The choreography was wonky, there was weird levitation, the fight wasn't the best, especially for showing off a new Grimm. But when you look at some other Grimm, like the Nucalabe, for example, in Volume 4, now this Grimm did actually send some chills down some people's spines. And I have to say, I think this Grimm was probably one of the best done Grimm before Volume 6. So we're going to look at pre-Volume 6 first. So before Volume 6, I think the Nucalabe was done well with the foreshadowing, with its abilities, and even its own design gave a creep factor to it. And seeing that it was two Grimm combined as one, and seeing how powerful this thing was whenever they fought off against it, I really feel like this Grimm was done very well. The foreshadowing leading up to this creature being the final boss of the volume was pretty good, seeing a huntsman actually die because of the power of this thing. It was good to show you that this Grimm actually had power behind it, and that it was going to be a force that Team Ranger was going to have to learn to deal with. Not only that, but if you think about the cave scene where the Grimm had made its own home, and just looking at the mess that was all around, this was actually a very interesting sight to behold, I think. And despite the many issues with Volume 4, I think this Grimm was actually one of the best parts to it. I mean, yeah, the action was iffy at best, but realistically, the Grimm itself, with the fear that it actually held upon Ren, for example, this was good. And personally, this Grimm was actually one of my favorite Grimm, and it still is to this very day, with its design, its power, and even the interesting foreshadowing they actually put behind it in Volume 4. So really, Nucalabe, I think, succeeded where some Grimm in the past actually failed. So I think the threat of this Grimm was actually huge. But when we look back at other Grimm, there were times to where they just didn't feel very threatening. If you look at a Beowulf, yeah, they look intimidating, they look fearsome, but they don't really give off that power vibe of them being the best things you've ever seen. I mean, realistically, we've seen stronger Grimm than Beowulfs. I mean, they have a cool design though, but they're really not something to sit over there and think, oh man, this is the most fearsome thing I've ever seen. And while they come in packs like animals, that's really kind of what they feel like. They kind of just feel like wolves. Then again, that's the point of them. If you look at the Goliaths were said to be some of the smarter Grimm to exist as to why they actually had lived for so long that their minds had developed and they had become very intelligent, and they waited for the time to attack Beacon. Now, the only thing is, we never actually did get to see them attack, and not only that, but we don't really know what the Goliaths are capable of. So, I think that that was kind of a disappointment when it came to them. I wouldn't mind them actually fighting a Goliath eventually. Now, when you see things like the Manticore Grimm and the Sphinx Grimm, they were pretty interesting at the beginning of Volume 6, so let's talk about that. So first off, the Manticore, I actually like the design of this thing. Now, this was a design that a fan had come up with, and they used this for Volume 6. And considering that the Manticores can shoot fireballs, and they kill D by grabbing him and throwing him off the train into the valley below, that was interesting. It was pretty good to see that. And then you have the Sphinx Grimm, which, well, you know what that's based off of. It's based off Sphinx. But I think that the design of it was a pretty good design, but I think the issue with the Sphinx and the Manticore was they didn't really come off as a huge threat because they were all fairly easy to take down. Of course, the Sphinx was the harder one of them, but it didn't really seem like it was a Grimm that would push Team RWBY and their group to their limits. So that was a thing that disappointed me a little bit about them. But let's take a look at another Grimm that is something I really thought was a cool concept. I like the idea that they came up for with the apathy. This Grimm had people actually scared. Some fans, which some of you have talked to me about, actually were afraid of the apathy. And the mystery hiding behind the apathy with Brunswick Farms, I think, was a very good thing to tie in with this Grimm, because it leads you to wonder what's going on, why are people dying, why is everybody feeling tired. Then you start to realize that this is the draining power of the apathy. They drain one's will, and from what it seems, as I discussed in a video about the apathy, it seems like they have the ability to hypnotize others to do what they want as well. So whether they actually can hypnotize them or not, it's unsure, but it seems like the evidence is there, like when RWBY had the relic and she dropped it into the well by accident until she snapped out of it when she saw the eyes of the apathy. So these are very terrifying Grimm that just slowly drain the will of someone. And then you look at their design on top of that, and this would be something for a creep factor. I like how they look. I like that they were based off the Redeads from Legend of Zelda. That was a cool idea that Miles and Carrie had here. And who knows, maybe Monty even had the idea for this too. Considering we know it was an idea before Volume 1, that could have been another possibility. But I like this, and this was also something that had to do with RWBY and her Silver Eyes and learning how to use them. So that was the whole point to the apathy and Brunswick Farm. So that was good, and I think that the story there in showing how threatening this Grimm was actually succeeded. Now, let's take a look at the Leviathan real fast, as I were to call the Leviathan Pladzilla. I call the Leviathan this because it looks like a platypus fused with Godzilla. But anyways, Pladzilla didn't really come off as that creepy, and here's why. Yes, it's a giant Grimm. It's like a kaiju, essentially, but realistically, I'm not that much of a fan of the design of Pladzilla at all, really. And when you see it kind of just waddle in there, it just kind of looks at everybody and goes, "Hi, guys." That's kind of what I feel like when I see this thing. It doesn't really come off as intimidating. I mean, yeah, okay, it knows flamethrower, and it was super effective against the barrier that they had around Argus, because it was a steel barrier with the beams literally sticking out of the ground, projecting the barrier, which seemed to be more of convenience for Pladzilla to try to walk into Argus. But aside from that, I didn't really feel like it was that threatening. But at the end of the day, I think the apathy did prove to be threatening. So, in a sense, yes, the Grimm did succeed at being threatening if you were to count the apathy. To a degree, maybe the Manticore and the Sphinx, but not as far as the apathy, and Pladzilla just didn't stand out to be as threatening to me. But really, overall, yeah, I think the apathy did a good job, and I'll give credit to the apathy on the creep factor. It definitely did a good job. So let me know what you think down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments down below. But anyways, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. And if you did enjoy, hit the video with a like, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and share this with your friends if you found this informative or useful. Well, anyways, I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful and fantastic day today. And remember, if today was not a good day, tomorrow could always be better. Take care of yourselves and everyone around you, and have yourselves a good one out there, everybody.